Then we are going live shortly in seconds.
So you are on live now.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I hope you all can hear me. Mr. Jen. Hello. Habib.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, I hope great. Welcome you all. This is Gambian Talents TV or GTTV. And if you're just watching or you're just tuning in, know that this is Gambian Talents TV. And of course, it's our special program, which is the Gambian Talents Forum. And of course, today we are hosting the Gambian students in abroad, the leaders of their confederation, which is Mr. Emel Jane of Sudan, and of course, Dr. Habib of Morocco, and of course with their spokesperson, which is Mr. Abubakar Jeng. So welcome you all, and my name is Yusuf Ajata. So just before we go, let me just give you guys the platform to say hi to your followers, because I know right now people are watching you guys. So Habib.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jata, and good afternoon, viewers. My name is Habib Janj, the Second Secretary of the Task Force and the Head of the Media of the Confederation, the interim sovereign.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Habib. Now, can we go to Mr. Babakar Jeng, a spokesperson? Can you just say a few words?
Yeah, good evening, everyone from India, and good afternoon from the Gambia. My name is Babakar Jeng. I'm the spokesperson of the Gambia students, this thing as Federation of Gambian Students Abroad.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Mr. Spokesperson. Now we move to Mr. Sudan, Mr. Modlamin Jane. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very
marhaban.
much. I'm very glad to join the show. Marhaban bika. I'm very glad to join this show. Actually, it's a very special show. I am Mohamed Lamin Jani. And currently, I am the first secretary of the task force for the Confederation of Gambian Student Unions Abroad.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jane. And of course, like I said, welcome you all. And if you're just tuning in, this is Gambian Talents or GTTV. This is our special program, which is Gambian Talents Forum, and I'm your host, Yusuf Ajata. So let's get straight to the point. We know that the government has issued a package, which is COVID-19 leave package, on the 30th of August, with the joint ministries, which is the Ministry of Economic Affairs and, of course, the Ministry of Higher Education, that they will be helping the government students who are studying in abroad, be it any country. And the fund was $29.1 million. But recently we have seen and receiving a lot of complaints from you, the Confederation leader student, that the greater number of the students are not benefiting from this package. So we want to know right now, how are things going there?
Yes, good evening once again. So if you look at this, Mr. Jata, the issue have been discussed at all levels. That is, first of all, what we did is we tried to discuss with all the Gambian students abroad. So before you get to the media, it is always imperative that you get the facts right. So in order to do that, with this confederation was founded before even the relief package came into existence. It was founded before that. So what we did is we also gathered the records and get the facts straight. What happened in India, we compared with what happened in Morocco and what happened in Sudan and what happened all over the world before we even wrote a report to the government. When we gather all the facts from the student side, so we wrote a comprehensive report. This comprehensive report was sent to the ministries concerned. That is the higher education, that is the foreign affairs, and also the finance ministry. So when we wrote this report, what we also did is we give them time, because government operation is sometimes not very fast. So we give them more than a week or so. So we also sent a follow-up because we did not receive any response from them. When we give our first follow-up, we also give them another week or so. So which means we want to give them time to also check the report very well and get back to us, because there were some discrepancies that were happening across the distinct wall. So when we give them a first follow-up, we also make sure we give them another 1 week or more to give them another follow-up. So basically, we give them 3 follow-ups. After the third follow-up, what we did is I call the ministries to see that if they have received the report, because we are yet to receive any response, and we wanted to know that the report has reached to the right people. But they accepted, or they said that they received the report, but still they are not giving us any guarantee or anything that they will respond to this report. So it was something very disturbing.
In other means, there's no concrete response from the ministries or from the government to you guys.
There is no concrete response. There is no response at all. Only Ministry of Finance sent, Ministry of Finance sent that the report has been received, and with regards. That's confirmation, acknowledgement of receiving the report. But basically, they have not responded to the Confederation. Yes.
Okay. Okay, then let me come quickly to Mr. Jani of Sudan. LAMIN Jani, I want to come to you. I understand that, like I said, when the money was announced, I can understand the feeling, as a Gambian student, in foreign land. This is COVID-19 time, so the time has been challenging and very tough to everyone. So I can just imagine, the feeling when you guys just had the announcement that the government is going to give you this the millions of dollars. So I wanted to know that exactly, because we understand from the permanent secretary that he's saying that the money is meant for non-government fund students, like students that are studying there privately, not for the government. So you said some of the students are receiving, whilst others are not receiving. So we want to know, how does start up? Like how are they doing it? How did some people, some got it and some did not got it?
Yeah, thank you very much for that very wonderful question. I think, first of all, the government's announcement that they are going to give a relief package to Gambian students abroad, that is laudable. Okay, that's a very good move. We appreciated it a lot. In fact, students out here were very happy. Students were very excited. Wow, finally our problems are going to be solved. Everybody was saying that. Okay, and then later on, the government took some data from students, okay, some information from students. Okay, so students all over the world, Gambian students all over the world, have been given a specific form to fill. Okay, and on this form, you should have to put your number, okay, where you are staying, which university you are learning, which faculty. There were lots of stuff. Okay, so that information was gathered by all the student bodies and given to the government. Okay, so after that was given to the government, later on the distribution process came and the money was distributed. So students thought that they are actually going to receive these funds. And actually, lots of students out here abroad receive calls, okay, from their families saying that, okay, now I'm not going to give you any money for this period of time because the government is going to give you like millions of dollars, man. So you see, so families who are basically supporting their children at home thought that the government is going to give these funds to all students abroad. But later on, we came to find out that most of the students that are studying abroad here were not actually getting these funds, while their families thought that they were going to get these funds, because that was the information that was communicated to the Gambian people. The information communicated to the Gambian people was very clear in the press release and on the media that Gambian students abroad are going to receive this amount of money. And they said both government-funded students and non-government-funded students are going to receive this money. It was very clear in the press release that was divulged by the government on the 30th of April. So when we realized that lots of students are not getting these funds, we tried to go on a radio talk show on the balance show on City Limit, I think. Okay,
Mr. Jan, let me interrupt you. We will come to discuss about that later. But as for now, let me just engage Mr. Habib because it's very fishy, it's very controversial. That some sector of students receive it and other did not receive. So, Mr. Habib, do you know?
That's exactly where I'm coming into.
Exactly.
That's
so
exactly
we want to know. We want to hear from you guys. Do you know any kind of process the government is using to reach to students? What kind of criteria are they using?
We know as a confederation, as a task force, and as leaders. Here is when they were collecting our data from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, so its missions across the globe, they required all students. There was no segregation of who which name to take all. They took all the students, or they collected all the students' data across the world. And now that's where the discrepancy starts, because when you collect someone's data, when you collect the student's data, then you realize you start giving some and some do not receive. That's something else that we try to find out. And when the permanent secretary alluded in the radio talk show that the names were in a bit, like they come in bits, which is a bit controversy with the embassies, because the embassies confirmed that they sent the list in whole. It was except two countries, if I can recall, that was Russia and Cyprus, that sent their names in two badges. But countries like Morocco here, India and Sudan, they send the student's name in one badge. So when the student's name is sent in one badge, and then you start receiving, some start receive, some do not receive, it reflection, especially government, it's responsible for it. That's the ambiguity starts, and we wish we know which reduce.
What do you think, between these two groups, the government-funded student and non-government student, which of the two groups, benefited most from this package?
Yes, for the experience I have and with the communication I do, this thing is not even clear to Gambians up to date, or when you talk government-funded and then non-government funded. Now, when you talk government-funded, literally the Gambians home in the government created the policy to go on study. The non-government are the ones whom the government do not send to, they go for self-study or private or send for institution. Yes, but now the question here is, because even the package, like the annual top-up of stipend, around the globe, it's only 5 to 6 countries that receive annual stipend, and these are Morocco, China, Sudan, India, Cuba, and Russia. Russia, half of them. So, for instance, a clear example: China, the government sends students to China to go and study, but they do not receive annual stipend. Every year, they do not receive any dime from the government. So it means the government send them for studies, but they do not send them. It's different from us and India and Sudan, in which the government send us, and every year we receive a stipend. So that also is a gap which we don't even know why the government do that. They send some students and they give them annual top-up. They send some, they do not give annual top-up. I think the reason known to them, but that also is a controversy that even the colleges are
exactly. Because according to the PS, according to Permanent Secretary of Higher Education, which is Mr. Modisek, he said that this relief package fund, it's only purposely for the non-government students. So meaning any student that is studying there on behalf of our government, or government is funding you, you are not entitled to this $300. And according to you people, some of the beneficiaries are government-funded students.
Right. Yes.
ML Jane.
Yeah,
ML.
Thank you very much. It's very clear. Actually, what I want to point out here is that it was very clear in the press release that was announced, okay, by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, that both government-funded students and non-government-funded students are going to receive these funds. Okay, so for the record, that press release was divulged by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs on the 30th of April. So on that press release, that's where we are basing our argument on. Okay, we are saying that one piece of information was communicated to the Gambian people, but later on the distribution process was in contrast with that piece of information. So we just want clarification. We want to have an honest conversation with the government based on this matter.
I think the PS had made it clear, like you rightly mentioned, because according to the press release, it is clearly stated that it is for the government student in abroad. It is even further verified, you know, the government funded student are to receive about 12.9. Then the other remaining, which is the non-government student, will also receive about 16 point exactly. So, but like I say, it's very, very fishy here. I don't know, something isn't right here. So if this is what they announced through the press release, but according to Permanent Secretary himself, he clarified it. He said the fund, which is the $300, it is only allocated to the non-government student. So the government students are not entitled to benefit from this $300 because they are having their annual stipend.
Yes, so that's what we want to establish here. Okay, we know that the annual stipends of students are part of the budget of the Ministry of Higher Education, and yes, I am saying that we know that the annual stipends of students are part of the budget of the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, and that budget was approved by the Parliament at the beginning of the fiscal year. Okay, are you getting me?
Yes. I'm getting you.
Yeah, very good. So we want to know, we like, naturally you would know that there is no relationship whatsoever between the COVID-19 student relief funds and the annual stipends of students, because these are clearly different things. Okay, the budget was actually approved by the Parliament at the beginning of the fiscal year, and it was in the budget of the ministry. Later on, the ministry saw that Gambian students abroad are facing a lot of problems based on the COVID-19 stuff, and now they want to help them. Okay, so how can you fit in the stipends of students in that narrative? How, like, that's kind of confusion to us, and that's why we sent a report to the government about this issue, and we just wanted to have an honest conversation verified to us. Okay?
And I think that's where everything is. So let me just go to the spokesperson quickly, Mr. Ababakar. I just want to come to you. Like I said, something isn't right here. So I don't know, like between the students and the government, who is fooling the public? Because if the government made it clear that the government students are not benefiting from this, and the students are saying that the greater number of the students that benefited are in fact, you know, the government students that are currently on study leave. So how can you guys relate that? How can you guys relate that?
See, Mr. Jara, the truth of the matter is, it is not our duty or responsibility to state that something is shady or not shady. What we are doing here is we gather the facts according to what is on the ground. There was a press release which was directly from the government. When we look at the press release, it doesn't segregate. It's specifically segmented that the government's funded students will get 16 point this amount. The non-government funded students will get 12.9, as you mentioned. These are facts. We are not trying to speculate or insinuate anything. These are facts. So getting to the fact,
Mr. Spokesperson, if that is the case, then why do you think the government included their package there? Because if they are not entitled to get it, meaning they will be only receiving their annual stipend, then why do you think the government have included their stipend in the COVID relief package? Why? Why did they include it?
As long as Gambian students abroad are concerned and the Confederation, we are not going to say in any way that the annual stipend was included in the package, relief package, as far as we are concerned, because it was not mentioned. The stipend is from the government, which we understood that has to be budgeted before March. It was done at the national budget. So if it was done that time and it was normally paid every year, so we understand that it was completed. So if a package should come forward due to the pandemic, let me tell you, the pandemic hit a lot of countries abroad, especially in India. So when we reach out to the government for evacuation, it was not possible. When they announced this, people calmed down. We are student leaders. It is hard to lead students because they were enraged. So understanding, we are not going to insinuate that somebody did this or somebody. What we are saying is, if our report did not get to the right authorities, talking to the media can make it get to the right authorities. If the right authorities also saw our report and did not respond, that shows incompetence in our government. And we don't want to have a government that is incompetent. We are not here to attack the government. We are stakeholders of the government. So being stakeholders of the government, we want to know the facts, not to insinuate. So we are trying to avoid that. That's why we send them report, give them more than 1 month before medias were following us. This is not an attack. We are trying to make sure we dispel insinuation or speculation. Let them talk to us.
So, because according to Mr. Badu, he's in China. He's the president of Gambian students there in China. He said in China, out of 192 students, it's only 3 students that have received this benefit. And out of these 3 students, it is only 2 that is government student and the other one is private student. And these two students that benefited from the relief package are a staff of higher education.
See, Mr. Jata, let's look at the records here one more time. If the government says that 12.9 million is for the private student, and that 12.9 million is paid to 836, we know, I'm not a mathematician really, but I know that will equivalent to 299 something. You round it up, you have $300. Private students in India are paid $300. Private students everywhere are paid $300. So which means the other 16 point something is not paid. Where is that 16?
You want to say that like not all the money have been reached to its final destination?
I cannot say because I'm not going to insinuate or speculate. What I'm saying is the government specified that this amount is going to this number of students. So in that case, we understand that only 12.9 is paid because exactly what was said is what they received.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Then what do you think happened to the rest of the money?
We don't want to think. We want them to talk to us because we are stakeholders of the government. They have to take us seriously because if our own government is not talking to us, which means they are not taking us seriously. If they are not taking us seriously, they are teaching us a bad culture of governance.
Yeah. Okay, then let me go to Mr. Habib of Morocco. Habib, can you give us the recent situation in Morocco?
Yeah, so the fortunate part of it is in Morocco, it's kind of different from other countries, to be quite honest.
Okay.
At the annual top-up, out of all the countries across the group, Morocco received the highest annual top-up. And
okay, how many students are in Morocco? How many students?
Right now, we have 197.
400?
197.
Okay, 197. Then how many got the package out of the 197?
One got the package. So it's 198. Yeah, 100. So it's 198 because he recently joined the association. So it's 198 who registered in the association, and that one is a public servant, and he received the $300.
Okay, the one that received that package is a public servant.
Correct.
He's the only one that received the package. Then what happened to the rest? And so far, what have you been doing as a president?
Yes, because that's the same question we ask, because it's logic. You know, when we hear the press release, it's clear and it's crystal clear those who's going to receive and those who are not going to receive. You know, so that's what we're trying to say. We're not insinuating, we're not trying to witch hunt the government. It's just we want to know the reason, because that, like, to be quite frank, the annual top-up, annual stipend have nothing to do with the package. You know? So if the permanent secretary or the ministry says that 16.2 is for the government funded, that begs the question, which government funded are you talking about? Because a clear example is China. China are sent by Gambian government, but they are not receiving annual top-up. And the permanent secretary said that 16.2 is for the fast track that annual top-up. So if it's the fast track, if it's the fast track annual top-up, and the other question we ask is, because we as leaders, when you have the case of Morocco, we have the case of India, we said no, we're not going to do it as individual thing. We're going to come together as one Gambia. We unite and we network so that we can collaborate in one dimension, so that the government can attend to us. You know? So okay. What we need to know is just.
So, as President, Mr. Habib, I want to know that because I understand that you guys were doubting the distribution process as to how it is being distributed. So I want to know, as a president, if there have been like that one student that benefited, was it brought to your attention as a president? Was it passed through your office, or did you know anything about it?
No, we were not officially informed. You know, and the sad story.
Where did it pass? Where did it pass? Did they contact the student direct to give it to him?
It passed through the embassy.
Okay, the Gambian embassy in Morocco.
The Gambian embassy in Morocco.
Okay.
And we were not officially informed. And the sad story of it is, even other embassies, after collecting the data, the countries that received are the one that embassy contacted. And like here in Morocco, when you contact the embassies, what they will tell you is, Habib, we do not know, we don't have any idea of the relief package. We are just robots. When the government says do this, we do this. The government sends us one slip, and that's for one person with the name. So we just got to execute it and give that person the $300.
Yeah.
So
because
so when you ask, of course, that exactly.
Okay, it's quite clear that, like I said, it's very fishy, like, and also very controversial, because if the governments have clearly stated that it is for all the students, but still some sect of students are receiving and some are not receiving. So do you think that students who are entitled to get stipend, do you think their money or two is being inculcated into this package as well?
Yes, it's, as we said, we're not trying to think, but what we do know is the stipend is already allocated. So why is it that the government have to use the students who receive stipend for the relief package? Because they could have done it simply, they not mention the 16.2, and they just say 12.2, it's for the non-government, and then the confederation will work on the non-government so that the non-government students will have. But they cannot put into segments that the government fund and the government funded. Because our annual stipend is a matter of must. With the COVID or without the COVID, we're going to receive our annual top-up. So why do they have to push that to the National Assembly again? So to tell the National Assembly that they're going to sponsor the government funded, when we already have our annual top-up is already been allocated.
Okay, that's very clear. Let me just remind my viewers that quickly they're still watching Gambian Talents, and it's GTTV. This is our special forum, which is the Gambian Talents Forum. Of course, I'm the host, Yusuf Ajata, and I'm here with the Gambian students in abroad to discuss about the controversial government's relief package to the students. So, Dr. Jan, I want to come back to you quickly. In your report that you sent to us, and of course to the government, you do mention that the package has brought more harm than good. Can you elaborate on that? Hello, can you get me? Hello, Habib.
Yeah, I'm getting you. I think Jane must lost up.
Yes, I think I've elaborated a little bit on that before.
Okay.
As a student, if I'm sponsored by let's say my father or brother, okay? if I am sponsored by my father or brother to take care of my father heard from that the Gambia government is going to give me a certain amount of money, then he would definitely have the can get you. Can you get me?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Can you get me?
Yes, I'm getting you. Go ahead. We're getting you. We're getting you. Mr. Jane? Hello, Habib, can you get me?
I
Hello,
think he's having network issues.
Can you get me? I'm back.
Yeah, exactly. I get you now. Can you proceed?
Well, yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
I am giving you an example abroad, and I'm being sponsored to take care of my and later on my father got from the news that the government is not going to give you any money because this money
from
my
the
father
government.
back. I'm telling him that, well, I'm not getting anything. He said, no, but I heard from the news that the government is going to give you money. I said, no, but father, I have not gotten this money. He said, no, I heard it from with my own ears. How I did you? I don't trust you now. You're just taking my money like that. Things like if that happens.
Okay, so in other words, it has created that tension between you and your family members. It's like we he's gone. We couldn't get him, but just to complete with you, Mr. Habib, it's like the package has brought kind of confusion between you and the family members, especially those who also contribute to your studies.
Yeah, that's the exact under the matter. That because when people sponsored you, it's not because the government viral when they are announcing this, it was stated the ministries and the state house also commented again with its Facebook, and then everywhere in the world knows that okay, the Gambian students are going to receive a package, and that also the other harm it gives it the tension it releases to countries. For instance, countries like China, countries like Sudan, because they demanded the government for repatriation so that they can go a bit because the tension is high. It really hit them. You go to countries like China, and in Italy, But when the government announced, okay, we're going to give you a small token of $300, the tension was released. Oh, okay, so maybe in months' time, the $300 might be a bit sufficient. It was really hard. It was really hard to students, especially for instance, if you are renting and then you're finding your feedings, and then because the question is and the matter is it also affects our families because even when they are sending 100, it's very hard for them to send again hundreds. They might be sending 50 or 25 because they also have to consider the situation back home.
Okay. So it's like before the arrival of this COVID package, how was the situation? Because like you said, you have to pay the rent, the feeding, and other stuffs. So is this $300 able to cater all that?
Yes, but prior to the COVID, because we as an association here, what we did is because we have special forms like the loan giving and stuff. So we as an association level, we allocated a certain amount of money so that we ask students who are having difficulty and who need to pay rent, to come to so that they can the association can give some top up to them as a form of loan. Yep, and the other side is like, as I said, Morocco is a bit different from other countries. Like we were a bit fortunate that the king was able to talk to the landlord, most of the landlord and the landladies, so that the rent might be shifted a bit, and then the paying of rent. And those in Morocco here, we are in two parts. The 80 Gambians are in campus, and then thank God the campus give them food provisions every 15 days. And then so that they will not move out. So the remaining 117 is in which those who are renting and the association play its part, and then the king also plays some part. But notwithstanding, it's different case from other countries, and they don't have that same privilege we have. So it's very difficult to them especially when you reach out to them. Yeah.
Okay, we understand. Let me come quickly to Mr. Spokesperson. Spokesperson, from the report sent to the government, it is said that the parliament has approved another additional $20 million for the student that did not receive this package. So how far is this package? Has it reached to them?
First of all, I want to talk about the parliament. Before you approve something, I am convinced that they look at the first package that was approved, how it was spent, whether it was spent judiciously or not, because you cannot just use these international students or the Gambian students abroad's name and approve packages without looking into it. So I believe,
like
I'm not saying.
How? What do you mean? What do you mean to use their name?
What I'm saying is, I trust the this thing, National Assembly, as a citizen. So I believe that if they approve $29.1 million to the international student or Gambian student abroad, before they will approve again, they will have to look into what was approved, how it was used, whether it was used judiciously. Coming to the package that is approved, the other 20, I believe it was approved with other funds. So what I believe is, it is yet to reach. Government promise that not through the Confederation, we are not saying we receive through the Confederation, but through other sources, that this fund will be forthcoming, but we are yet to see anything or any progress so far.
Okay.
So just looking at the difficulties the package caused and the privileges that those in Morocco are having, just look at India as an example. There were some students who were living in hostel. Colleges were closed due to the pandemic. As we know that India is the third most having the most cases in the world. So in that case, some of the students, they were using their hostels as COVID-19 treatment centers, because the hospitals were full. We normally have sometimes 60 to 70,000 cases a day. That's not a small number. It's due to the population of India. So you can see that some of them were forced to leave their hostel because they were not having treatment centers, and they're supposed to use this one. So if you are forced to go for private accommodation, when your accommodation was already guaranteed and government promised to give you something, they did not give you. You claim that you don't have any money, and most of them are private students. They don't have privileges that most of the government schools, funded students are having. So in that case, it was very difficult. The association have to step in, and the association also is not a government. We don't have millions. So if the number of students who are forced to leave are many, it will be very hard for us and for them. So the situation is very hard.
Okay. So I just want to know quickly, because you guys claim that you sent the accurate data to the embassies and to the ministries. But like I said, the permanent secretary said they did not receive all the data. In fact, a lot of students started coming in when they announced this package that, I am so student living in this country. So what is your reaction to that?
See, I know for sure that India will send comprehensive report at once.
So okay, in India, is there any student which you did not register also sent their personal data to the embassy, which maybe you come to know?
No, embassy will not accept any student sending them information. They deal officially with the association. That's why India was one of the first countries to receive the package. But out of 122, 62 who are private students, they received $300, like the permanent secretary claimed. So the point is, when they received this, other government funded students, it was 60. They did not receive. So what the permanent secretary is saying might be a case in somewhere around Cyprus, where a batch of the report was sent. That might be one case, as far as we know. And you come to Indonesia, for example, the government says students are supposed to receive 300. So those in Indonesia, they receive $270, whereas the other $30. So the discrepancies are many. It is difficult to understand unless the government talk to us.
Okay, I just want to know from Mr. Jane in Sudan. So Mr. Jane, is there any student which you did not collect their data, then later you realize that they sent their personal data to the embassy? Did you have any such situation?
No, that did not happen in Sudan. And secondly, I want to state something, okay, something very important. We are not here for any witch hunting, because nobody is guilty here. We're all innocent. Okay? We just conversation with the government based on this issue. And that's why before coming to the media, first of all, we tried to write them a report. We wrote them a report. We tried to follow them up once, twice, 3 times. They have not responded to us. And that is why we are using this means, the media, so that at least they could hear our voices, and that would actually prompt to have an honest conversation.
Okay.
Like if we are sitting on a dinner table, okay, we are sitting on a dinner table, and I am there, you are there, Habib is there, and Jeng is there. Then I happen to go to the bathroom, leaving my phone on the table. You get it? So when I come back, I find out that my phone is not on the table. Then I ask everyone on the table, let me see that they are not like they have not actually taken this phone. And you Habib put his hand on the table, Babukar put his hands on the table, and I can see their hands clearly. Well, they have not taken the phone. So you have your hands in your pocket. Okay, you do not want to engage with me. So in this case, the natural human instinct is that we are the one who took it. Perhaps you might not be the one who took it. Nobody knows. Perhaps this money has been distributed fairly. Nobody knows. But we just want to have an honest conversation. Let the government speak with us. Let them talk to us. Let them put their hands on the table for us. Let us see. Well, this is how the money was distributed. And we will know that we are student leaders abroad here. We represent Gambian students abroad. So we want to have an honest conversation with them about this issue. And that's all. That's all we want.
Okay, then Mr. Habib, in the report, you also mentioned that you wanted to know the reason why the assembly has approved the additional 20 million for the student, those who did not receive the benefit. Like you want to know the explanation to that. So do you think like the government or the assembly has done any investigation as to who got this, or is it that all the students got before approving, or do you think they have carried out their investigation in their own way?
Yes, we as a confederation, we start with disappointed from the and it's either that because we see the National Assembly, we send an email to the National Assembly. So we are not sure where the email reach at them or not, but that is the official email. And I believe when a government president give an official email, there should be that kin to know whether there is a concern or not. Now, and if I myself, there's always a team or a committee set in every assembly, in every aspect or any budget they do. For example, COVID, there is a special committee responsible for the package. Now, if the National Assembly approved the 29.1 million, the first question the National Assembly should ask to the responsible authorities is, because when they were announcing it, they announced in the National Assembly that it's going to be in 2 segments, the government funded and the non-government funded. And we trusted National Assemblies. They are doing their utmost best to serve at best. They might not know or understand the situation of government funded and non-government funded, because that's on the hands of minister. So when the National Assembly or when the ministers executed the 10.1 million they claimed, and up to supplementary for 20 million, there should be an act in the National Assembly that, okay, you people, how do you, because before they approve the 2 million, the Confederation has sent an email to them. It took that time, the Confederation sending the report, and in Assembly are aware. I don't want to calculate, but the email been delivered because it's electronic. When it was delivered, it does not deliver. When it delivered, it's delivered. So automatically the emails arrive in National Assembly. So it should be them to before they approve.
Okay, I understood this clearly from you guys that even the initial fund, which is the 29.1, greater amount of it did not reach to the student. So if the National Assembly should approve another 20 million on top of that, where do you think the money that is not being reaching the student is, in your own opinion? Where do you think happened to the rest of the money? Because some people are even some people are even saying that the government is using the student's name to get the money in order to embezzle it, according to some students, according to some people that what they are saying, especially on social media. So in your own opinion, what do you think happened to the rest of the money that did not reach?
like as we said, as the leaders of the Confederation, we are not here to, we are not thinking, or we are not want to speculate where the rest of the money go. It could have been easier. The government come to explain to us, okay, look, this and this, what happens to the money? We spend this and this and this and this, because by looking at the report, it's about 2,100 students and only 780 something received. So you ask the question, where is the remaining 1,000? So maybe the government has better explanation.
And I think right now that is the big question everyone is asking. Even from back home in home here, that's what everybody's asking. What happened to the rest of the money?
Yeah, I think it could have been way easier. The government explained to us in a normal conversation, in a more diplomatic, that okay, this and this what happened to the money. Maybe people might understand this, but this what. But at the context of students, we know that the 16.2 million they claim to be government funded as the annual top up, that cannot be, because I'm even sure the National Assembly cannot approve that. They cannot approve two funds for one body. They approve for the fiscal year and approve again for the top up that was already been approved. So, but we stand to be corrected, and then that's why we want to we write in a way diplomatic and more professional to the government, that we want to know. We don't just tell us this. No, we write a report and tell them, by looking at the report, we want to know why this and this happened. So it could have been way better that the government help us and then explain the matter at the early set.
Okay. So, okay, then thank you very much, Mr. Habib. Let me go to Dr. Jana of Sudan. Dr. Jana, let's just look at the report that you guys sent to the government. And of course, we also received this report. According to this report, students in Tunisia, 9 students got it. Out of this 9 students, 8 are government funded and 1 is private. So in Morocco, like Mr. Habib rightly mentioned, 196 students, only 1 got it. So in other countries like Turkey, it's like altogether they have 211 students. So 137 students receive it, and 74 students did not receive. So in North Cyprus, you have 234, 60 received, 179 did not receive. So if you go to Azerbaijan, like you have 3 students only. Out of that 3, none of them receive. So countries like Taiwan, 50 students altogether, but 0 receive. India to 122 students, only 62 receive, and 60 did not receive. China as well, 193 students, only 3 students receive, and 195 students did not receive. So like I said, it's very, very controversial at this point. So a lot of people have been asking, why is it that some people are getting and some people are not getting, when the PS has already made it clear that it is not for non-government, it's not for government-funded students. And here you guys are saying that a great amount of students that receive this money are in fact from the government.
Yeah, exactly. The question that everyone is asking, those are the same questions that we are asking, and that's why we are here. We are asking the same basic questions. Why some students are not getting these funds while others have gotten it? Okay, just like you have gone through the list, trying to explain like some students in certain countries have gotten it and students in certain countries have not gotten this amount. That's how it is. Okay, it's all haphazard. It's haphazard. We cannot understand the pattern of the distribution of this money. We try to study the pattern actually. In fact, we put it in the report that we try to study the pattern of the distribution of this money, but the pattern is not kind of clear, and we think that the pattern should be clear. When you say you're going to give this money to government-funded students and non-government funded students, well, when you distribute the money, that pattern should be clear, that you have given the money to both government-funded students and non-government funded students. But when we see in a case that non-government funded students are receiving it in some countries, and some government-funded students are receiving it in other countries, like the pattern is not clear. So the same basic questions we are asking, let the government like come to us, like just like we are coming to them. Let them respond to our email. Let them tell us what really is happening. I think that is very clear.
Okay, I think that is very clear. Then spokesperson, I'm coming to you, but as for now, let me quickly go to Habib. So Habib, I want to know what is your next move? Since, like you said, you followed up with the government, they did not respond, some amount of students receive and some did not receive. So what is the next move in your calendar?
Well, we already start the move, and that is reaching out to the media so that even the government do not reply our families and our siblings back home in Gambia will know, okay, the Gambian students as they did not received as lamented by the government, so that our names can be cleared. And I said, if there is responsible and patriotic citizens in the Gambia, they're able to push things to the government, let them explain to us. We just hear explanation. We just record and transparency. That's what we are for. Because we have a lot of issues to do. We have a lot of issues to handle. Because we feel as leaders and as stakeholders, we cannot leave this matter on the ground and then we move on. No, we have to think, and the record will be set, and then we move on as responsible citizens.
That's very clear. So we want to know right now from the spokesperson before we come to the steps. We learned that there are some students who wish to be repatriated back to the Gambia because since they are not doing anything, so the difficulty is increasing day by day. So they wish to be repatriated back to the Gambia. And according to the PS, which is the permanent secretary, he said he have engaged the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Economic Affairs, and even some embassies as to their discussion that meetings are ongoing to finalize on this repatriation process. So how is the latest? How is it going? What is the latest story?
Frankly, there is no latest story as far as the Confederation is concerned, because at first this issue came up, some students in Sudan and India, when the cases were rising. But according to the PS, what they said was the government did not have money. We are in the middle of a pandemic, which was understandable. We didn't push the issue because we are reasonable people. So we did not push because this is something that makes sense. I explain points beyond reasonable doubt. So if they believe that they can do it now, we will appreciate it. But if they still say that the government doesn't have money, that is something that every Gambian can understand, because this government also doesn't have that kind of money. Yeah. We want to be reasonable, but see, Mr. Jata, let me be as clear and honest as I possibly can. We have different stages. We use diplomatic means. What I always tell my people is,
and right now I even wanted to discuss with you that, because you made me to understand that from the initial point that you have made some progress, some effort, to do the follow-up. So we want to know the steps which you guys took to reach out to the government. What are the steps?
Yes, as a spokesperson, let me be as honest and as clear as I possibly can. We use the diplomatic means. Always, what I told my people at the beginning is,
which kind of diplomacy?
We send a report. We send a report. We gave them more than 1 week because we know the nature of government.
Sending report. How did you guys send the report? Do you just send open letter to them, or you direct it to specific embassy or Ministry of Higher Education or Foreign Affairs? How did you send it?
See, we send the reports specifically to the 3 ministries involved: Foreign Affairs, Higher Education, and Finance. We CC everybody, every stakeholder on this matter. All embassies, we CC them. All associations, we CC them. We CC the National Assembly, and we contacted them. We CC Office of the President. So most of the time and every time, I told my people that we need to give diplomacy chance to succeed. We cannot just jump and go to the media. We need to give diplomacy chance to succeed all the time. This is something we all have to learn. We did that. We gave them more than a month. If they wanted to respond, they would have responded. I call this thing one of the ministries, their spokesperson. I told them, we send you guys report. I'm asking if you have received it. He said, let me check. He was stolen. I know that. So after giving him about 1 week, I called him again. He said, yes, but how government operates is, when you send them something, they will check it if it warrants them to respond, if it is necessary to respond. I think every serious nation in the 21st century.
So if it's necessary to respond, do you think they are taking this to be a joke matter?
That's what I'm saying. Every serious country.
Respond. So which means this
if that is how they operate, he told me himself, if that is how they operate, they will respond when it is important, or when it is necessary. So if they do not respond to us because they think this is not necessary, I get to tell them that every serious country will take their assets of the country seriously. And every person in acquiring knowledge and skills, especially at tertiary level, is an asset to the nation. So let me be very clear. We use diplomatic means. They did not respond to us. We are talking to the media. Why? One basic reason. Because if the right people did not see the report, or if the report did not get to the right people, through this, they will get to know that Gambian students abroad send a report. And this is their concern. They will look into it. So if they saw it and still they do not respond, we don't mind how long it takes. If it is necessary to take this to court, we will sue the government and we will make sure we have representative. We are here not because we are politicians. We are students, and there are a lot of students who are depending on the decisions and things that we do in the confederation. So we are taking this matter very seriously. And what I have to say is, it doesn't matter how long it takes, but we will make sure we get to the bottom of what happened. Because
Mr.
let me tell you,
spokesperson,
yes.
why do you even think that they are reluctant or skeptical to reply? Why? What
See,
have
at
you
the beginning,
so
I
far
told
from
you, it's not
why
my.
are they even reluctant?
It's
I understand
not even,
that. I understand that, but from your self-assessment, why do you think?
I'm representing a lot of Gambian students abroad. I might have my personal opinion, but when I am representing them, I don't have a personal opinion. I represent them based on facts. So the facts are, they state a report, a press release. We give them a report that what you said did not happen. If you did not know about it, this is a chance to know about it. So if they know about it and still they are not doing anything, it means there are discrepancies that they know about. And nobody should use the names of its citizens abroad, especially during pandemic, in the middle of pandemic. They should be eager to make sure that our welfare is taken care of. That's what every serious country is doing. So if they are not doing that,
so in other words, it's like they are using the student's name, as some people are insinuating, to gain funds.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if they know about it and the funds were not used judiciously, yes, somebody can say that, but it's not our responsibility to say that. It is their responsibility to give us the facts. We want to know the facts. We don't want to insinuate. But no matter how long it takes or whatever is required, we will make sure we get to the bottom of this, because we are representing a lot of Gambians.
Exactly. So, like you said, you have engaged them in a lot of steps, from the talk show, like Habib mentioned, and Dr. Jani of Sudan. Then you also wrote to them, like, through diplomacy, which is to the various embassies and ministries as well. So this is your final resort, which is the media, to engage them in media. So do you think this will work? This will
no, this is phase two. This is phase two, not the final one.
So this isn't even the final one. Then
No,
let's
this
discuss
is phase
this after.
two.
Then I wanted to know what will be the final one. Will that be
yes,
war?
there's no final one. The only final one is getting to the bottom of everything. That is the final one. So this is phase two. Phase two, we are engaging the media. Why? I told you, because if the right people or the right authorities didn't know about it, they can get to know about it. That is why we are doing this. If they know about it and still they are reluctant or they do not deem it necessary to respond to us or to look into the matter, I said, I'm not saying we are going to do this. Phase two cannot be said. But if it means suing the government, we will sue the government, because nobody should use the names of its own citizen during in the middle of a pandemic or during a pandemic or anything like this. That cannot be accepted.
Okay,
so this is phase two. Phase three is yet to be out.
What is
phase three? Should be discussed.
Can you just give us a hint?
I cannot.
Can you hint us?
Because I cannot give a personal opinion. Like I said, everything should be based on facts. We are the representatives.
I didn't say personal opinion, because I know you already, like you said, arrange it. So we want to, if you cannot discuss in details, but at least give us the hint. What do you think?
No, there's no hint. What the hint is, we will have to sit down again and discuss the matter and see, because phase three will have to be based on the progress and the result of phase two.
Okay, you understand? So do you think phase two will work? Do you think this will work? Do you
absolutely.
Think
I think the government will take us seriously, because we are stakeholders of the government. I think if it gets to the right authorities, they will make sure the needful is done. Absolutely. I have full faith in them.
Okay. So it's very clear. Then now, thank you. Let me just come to Mr. Habib. Mr. Habib, you guys are saying that you collected data which you sent to the government and to the ministries. But like I said, the PS is saying they did not get all the data because that is the reason why some people, after hearing the relief package, they are coming forward. Like, my name is this and I'm in this country. So we want to know, how did you guys do your data collection? How?
Well, because as an association, it starts with, because we even have, like in Morocco here, we up to an extent having a website, we have in a blog, and then we have in our Facebook page. And we have everything in electronics, in which every student, when you come, your name is registered electronically and your details, And before I continue, it's very sad, especially with the government funded. As a government funded, you are sent by the government of the Gambia or by a government, and your government even do not know how many people or who are in country search. If the government cannot have a data for students, which they spend millions to billions, because in like Morocco here, our annual stipend goes up to millions, and we spend millions of dollars to send. You know what X, Y studying, you don't have data. It's very sad, but it's the truth. It's really sad as a government not even having data.
Okay, so Dr. Jane, when you collect, like he said, when the data was collected, like, what assurance did you guys have that, like, this is the correct data that we are about to send?
Well, those were the requirements. They say, like, gather the names of students, gather their faculties, gather their phone numbers, their email. So those were the requirements. So we just filled the forms based on those requirements, and we sent them back to the government.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because they are saying that they did not receive full data. That's why some students are telling them that my name is this and I'm in this social country. So that's what I'm saying. When you got all your data, what makes you guys think that the data contain all the students' information? Because in fact, that's the reason why some people are some students are sending their personal data. So which means you guys did not collect everything. Or are they accusing you guys?
Yeah.
No.
Let me make something clear here. Let me make something clear. The government contacted Gambian student organizations in this country separately. We have an organization here in Sudan, a union that the government contacted separately, the report separately. The government contacted the organization in India, they sent their report separately. The government contacted the union in Morocco, they sent their report separately. Okay, so in that case, if there is any Gambian student union around in any country in the world who did not send their report, the full requirements that the government said they should send to them, then actually we would have to go out to those students and ask, what really happened? Why haven't you sent the number of all the names of all the students to the government? Why did you send for 5 students instead of sending for 7 students? I think that's quite a good point, and we can follow up on that. That's not a big issue. But the big issue is what we have been discussing since the beginning. Okay.
Do you think too, because some students are not government funded students, so do you think the private students, maybe some of them are being sponsored by influential people, like wealthy people, so do you think that those kind of people who think that maybe they don't need the government fund because everything is just okay for them, so do you think those kind of students already submit their information to you guys?
Well, in Sudan here, I can tell you that we have students that are being sponsored by the government, that are given stipends by the government, and there are other students that the government is not going to give any stipends to them, and they are the students that arrived recently. So in this case, when we were submitting names of the students to the government, we submitted for all, because they said that it's for non-government students and government students. So we submitted for all. We did not submit for only government funded. We have this one union here. Gambian students here are united. We have one big union. I think in other countries also is the same. So that's basically what we have done.
Okay, so Mr. Habib, we understand that not in all those countries are having Gambian embassies. Like countries like Sudan, Jordan, Cameroon, there is no Gambian embassy. So how are those students, responding to embassies? I mean, did they have any consular there who is overseeing their interests, or who is overseeing their affairs?
Yes, according to the facts gathered by the task force and with the confederation, because when you reach out to the president, like when you go to Cameroon, you know, they were contacted by their consular because they don't have an embassy, and then the consular directed them to the embassy in Sierra Leone, and then the embassy contacted them directly that send me your details X and Y, X. Other countries likewise, you go to Ukraine, you know, they were having a problem with embassies, both whether it's to Russia or to Belgium, but at the end of the day, they were able to send the report. You know, you go to Taiwan, they send their reports to China. You know, you go to like Tunisia here, they send their reports to Morocco here. So these are the things that they did, because the foreign affairs know actually who and which Gambians are in which countries, and then they know which councillors are there. So they just contacted the councillors, and then the councillors will contact the embassy or the student body that, okay, well, the government said you send in your details and said X and X, and then we did. And just answering what ML said, it's not about we accusing or we about not getting the data. It's about what the majority counts. Like here in Morocco, the 197 students are all in my head. I memorize all of their names, which year are you, what are you studying, and everything there are details. Because as I said, annually we gather their names, we update the list so that we have a master list. That's what we send to the government for the annual top-up. Likewise, India, Babakar can tell you the students. You go to China, so it's not about whether we have the actual data of students or no, because the unions, we know, because we are Gambians, and then we don't have to be, okay, I don't know this X, I don't know. No, because we are all united. Always, whenever Gambians are, we come together and then unite. We might not know X and Y facially, but we might know, okay, he's studying, he's government, or he's non-government. So that is not an excuse from the government, because the embassies also will tell you that they send the reports in full. So we are not thinking, we don't want to say who is fault or who is fooling who, but we know from our side that the Confederation have done its utmost best that the students' names are correct. And the embassies also confirmed that they received they send the names. Because even the permanent secretary is the one who make us understand that to countries like Cyprus, which we said, yes, it's true, because Cyprus, like, they send in 2 badges. But the permanent secretary or the ministries cannot tell you that country X and Y send their names in badges.
Okay. So, Mr. Spokesperson, we want to know, is there any Gambian students there, who contracted coronavirus?
As far as the records are straight and the facts are concerned, we are yet to have a Gambian student in India who officially been confirmed to have coronavirus. Some were in hostel, like I said before, and the hostel were used for this thing, containment centers or treatment centers, and they were forced to look for private accommodation, but nobody officially have been, but other Africans have did in India.
Okay. That's it. Thank you very much for that clarification. If you're watching or you're tuning in, know that this is the Main Talents or GTTV. And of course, I am the host, Yusuf Ajata. With me here is the Gambian students in abroad. So we have a small time to go. But before we go, let me come to you, Doc, Jane. We wanted to know the information about the Confederation. I understand that you are part of the founding fathers. So we want to know, how does the Confederation came about?
Yeah, the Confederation came about because we realized that Gambian students abroad are not communicating. Gambian students abroad are not collaborating. They don't have a strong system of network between them. So that's where the idea of the Confederation started. We as Gambian students abroad, we want to be united. We want to collaborate. We want to have a strong system of network amongst us, so that at least we can solve our problems together. Sometimes we might not even like need the opportunity to get to the government to come to our aid. We are here as Gambian students abroad. So if anything is wrong anywhere, we can collaborate to solve it. Okay, we can have joint webinars. There are lots of issues that are related to the Gambia, to the Confederation. And I think the way we are going, if we continue like that, with the support of the government itself, we need the support of the government. I think one day this Confederation is going to be large, and Gambian students abroad, the problems of Gambian students abroad will actually be solved at a local level before getting to the government.
Okay, so so far, how many countries have you registered officially so far?
So far, officially, we have more than 20 countries.
How much?
More than 20.
Oh, okay, more than 20 countries globally, right?
Exactly.
Okay, then how is the membership? Who is eligible to be a member?
Who are eligible? If you're a Gambian student, you are a member actually. Our basic idea is this is for all Gambian students abroad. So as far as you're a Gambian student, even perhaps you might be there might be a Gambian student organization out there that is not officially a member of the union yet, of the confederation yet. But our idea is that this confederation is for all Gambian students abroad. Wherever you are a Gambian student abroad, you're part of the confederation, whether you know it or not. We are here to represent all Gambian students abroad. Yeah, that is the eligibility. Just be a Gambian and be a student abroad.
Okay, that's very clear. Then what can disqualify one from being a member? Like you are already part of member, then what can disqualify you?
I can see that you have lots of questions there.
Or you don't have exit though?
Not a big deal. Not a big deal. There is no exit though. You are a Gambian and you are a student abroad. You are part of the confederation. No exit though. We are not here to discriminate against anyone. Whoever you are, whatever kind
it's
of
not discrimination. It's not discrimination.
We understand
that. We understand that in every organization there are constitution and of course there are rules and regulations.
Yes.
Of course, you know, if you have means to become a member, of course, automatically there must be, you know,
That's right. That's right.
For them to be not to become official member. So because it's important for people to know.
I think what Mr. Jata is trying to gather is what the Constitution says about how to be a member and how to be expelled or disqualified as a member.
Yeah, he already explained how to be a member, but he did not say what can disqualify.
Yes. Let me come to that. As the spokesperson, I can tell you that the only way you can be disqualified or expelled from the confederation is using the confederation for personal gain. If it is proven that you have using it for personal gain, especially at the expense of the confederation or Gambian students abroad, you will automatically be disqualified. What Mr. Jane was trying to say is, you are a member. Even if you are disqualified, the name itself is inclusive. But the representative, we have different houses. Let's say we have this task force. It is overseeing the relief package. You understand? There's also a constitution that has been drafted, but we are at the stage of verifying. We have to verify and we have to make sure that everything is covered. So you are a member, but to be a representative requires certain criteria. So if you are a representative, let's say we are representing them, so we can expel. 3 of us are representing the Gambia Confederation. So if we use it for personal gain, they can expel us on that ground. That's what I'm saying. We can only expel representatives, but a general member, you cannot be expelled because the name is inclusive. But those who are representing, they can be expelled. Yes.
So I want to know what is the relationship between this confederation and the government? I mean, how strong is the relationship?
Yeah, we are trying to build the relationship, as we said.
Is the marriage going smoothly? Is the marriage going smoothly?
Yeah, no, as we all understand, marriages always have their ups and downs, even the best marriages. But I believe so far, we cannot say the marriage is bad or is in a negative stage. Because before you make judgment, you always have to hear from both sides. You know, government, we have engaged them. We are talking, you know, we are all Gambian at the end of the day. Maybe if government comes out, which I believe they will, they can explain and make sure that everybody is happy at the end of the day. And they can say that this is why we did this. This is because at the end of the day, it's always better to have all facts and have both parties to, you know, share their parts before you make judgment. I think the marriage is very well. It's nice.
It's very well. Okay, then quickly tell us so far what is the biggest achievement of the confederation? What is your success story?
The biggest achievement is the inception of the confederation, because we are staying far away, thousands of miles from one another. Having the idea was an imagination, but executing it to be a reality, that will always be the biggest achievement, no matter how big the confederation grows. But other than that, we have been talking. We conducted a lot of meetings that are beyond counting now, which is also a successful story. And Gambian students, unions, cooperating to give the authority and the belief and the trust to the Confederation means that we are getting along pretty well, fine. Because if at all they didn't have trust in the Confederation, or the Confederation was not based on solid grounds, I am the former president of Gambian students in India. I wouldn't give the matters or affairs of Gambian students in India to the Confederation if I did not trust them. So which means coming together is the biggest achievement, but we want to make sure this Confederation doesn't end here. We want to make sure it goes up to a point that even if you have a good idea, business idea that can work, the Confederation can help you get sponsorship or funds and start that idea. If you want to start a company that will work, all these things are possibilities. We don't want the government cutting our legs at a very early age. We want them to solve this issue, support us, and we can move on to contribute to the development of the country, which we all hold dear.
That's very good. We want to know how rich is the association, because we had a lot of stories that embassies and foreign governments are donating millions of money to this Gambian Confederation Union. So how many millions did you guys make so far?
Yes, we are hoping for that. But at this level, we are yet to accept or see any donation. But I hope if we get to that, yes, because see, a confederation like this should not be formed or founded on finance. It should be formed and founded on principle, on solid grounds, on founding documents. We need to have a clear constitution. Who can be elected in the confederation? Who can represent the confederation?
So as for now, there is no clear constitution.
No, there is a clear constitution, but having a committee to write a constitution, look at the Gambian constitution, for example. There was a committee to write it, but it has to be put to different stages, verification stages. So to make sure that it supports everyone, to make sure that all the bases are, covered. Because at the end of the day, this constitution is going to be the founding document, the base of everything we are going to do. So there's a constitution, but we want to take our time and verify it properly before we accept any donation, before we start getting into financial matter. Everything should be structured properly, and we are at the stage of doing that.
Okay, then for your final question to you before I leave you, what is your expectation on the confederation, let's say in the near 3 years coming? Because I understand that it's been formed in 2019. So how do you see it, let's say in 5 or 4 years coming?
As the first spokesperson since its inception, and as somebody who was among the first to discuss about the idea, I remember talking to Jane very early, before, even months before it was done. He told me, I said, now gather the numbers of the various presidents, and we talk to them. So as a confederation that is founded on principle, not finance, and on belief and trust, I believe we have a good start, and always a good start if maintained properly. The key thing I will always advise them is elect the right people. Do not elect people because they are your friends. Everybody is going to put, when it comes to election, everybody put their points, their, their beliefs. People are going to operate based on their belief, based on their ideals and their points. Always elect the right people. And if they elect the right people, there is no limitation to this confederation. It can be as big as anyone can imagine. I see the confederation growing, and I see the confederation being an organization that is going to solve a lot of problems for Gambian students abroad. So the future is bright.
Well. I hope to see that as well. So, Dr. Jane, I want to know, as the Secretary General of the Confederation, what is your personal achievement? I mean, what can you look? You said, this is what I have also contributed towards the Confederation.
Well, before becoming the Secretary General of this Confederation, last year I was the Secretary of Foreign Affairs for the Gambia Students Union in Sudan. And I am, like, I do not want to, I don't want to say this, but at least it's factual. I am part of those who started this idea, okay? And I have worked so well on this idea from the inception to now, okay? I have been very, very, very much concerned about the unity of Gambian students, their union and their collaboration. If we are not united, perhaps what we are doing here today would not have been possible. Okay, but the unity is what caused that. The unity is the driving factor to our presence on your show here. And it's the reason why Gambian students right now abroad are becoming powerful. Right now, we can say that we have a large voice, okay? We are Gambian students outside abroad here. Now we are proud that we have come together. We have actually created something that's substantial that can help in solving our problems. And just like Babakar said, in the near future of 3 to 4 years, 5 years, let's just wait. Okay, it's just a matter of waiting. We are going to see this confederation boom up and become one of the biggest achievements somebody can ever achieve in the world.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
well, I think that's, well, I have great hopes. My hopes are so high. You know, maybe
So high.
that might be my nature. But
the sky
yeah,
is the
secondly,
limit.
Secondly, I would urge the Gambian people who are watching this interview, right now. I want to be very honest with you. The government took this money from the taxpayers, from the coffers of the state. So when the money was taken from the coffers of the state, at least from that mindset, from that point of, from that line of thinking, we all know that if government takes the money in the name of, like, from the coffers of the state, then every citizen of the country has at least a right to ask where this money is going. Okay. So because we are paying the tax, okay? So if you paying the tax, you don't know where this money is going. At least we might point out to you and say that you are not a responsible citizen. If you are not asking where this money is going and you are paying the tax, we might look at you and say you are not a responsible citizen. So every responsible citizen of the country should have to come over and stand on the doorsteps of the government and knock it and say, where did the money go? I think that's quite clear.
Kodole, so we want to know what happened to the 29.
Yeah.
Okay.
And certainly it has been a long time. Okay, it has been a long time since April. They announced that they are going to give this money to students since April, and now it is September. Okay, coronavirus is still here. Okay, but if you are really going to help someone, you have to help him in such a way that his problem is being solved. If you tell me you are going to help me and then the help comes late, that you're not actually helping me. That's late, man. I don't need it now. I needed it that time and it didn't come. Okay, I think that's something that we have to clarify. So the government should have to be fast. Okay, they should have to make sure that this process is fast. Let students get their money so that at least at the end of the day, we would all be happy and smile together and dine together and at least have a dinner together with you present, with the permanent secretary of higher education present, with Mr. Barrow present. I mean, Mr. Barrow, the president Barrow. We can have a dinner together and sit and discuss about these issues and laugh. Really? Isn't that possible? That's possible.
Exactly. That's quite true. And it's like our time is up. But before we go, I just want to come to Habib. So Habib, just tell us right now, how is the learning situation currently there? Because I understand that a lot of students are taking their class, virtual class, it's true online. So how is the situation there? Are the school open? Are you guys going, or how is it?
We are yet to resume in school physically. We still having the virtual, but the virtual stopped 2 months ago. We're expecting to do exams. Some already started the exams this month. So maybe before the end of September, the exams will be done. And then early October, the government are thinking of having a virtual session rather than the physical if the things escalate. But if not, we will have the schooling or returning back in presence.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys, your time and everything, but rest assured that this is not the end of the story. We're going to continue this conversation probably next week or next 2 weeks coming. But in any case, I will let you know. And we also promise we will reach out to the Ministry of Higher Education. We will engage them as well. If they grant us, we would even love to have interview with them in order to see the both side of the story. But so far, so good. This is where we ending today. And I really appreciate you guys. Despite the time difference, you guys really made an effort to come. And this is what the Gambian public are expecting from you. Like I say, credible leaders from you guys. So Mr. Spokesperson and of course, Dr. Jane, Habib, I really appreciate you guys. And of course, thank you to all the viewers that are currently watching on, and of course, that will who will be watching later. This is Gambian Talents or GTTV. I am your host, Yusuf Ajata. Until we come your next, thank you. It's a goodbye from me. Bye-bye.
It's a goodbye from here too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be safe. See you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.